Hello, Fight Insight fans, viewers, and listeners. I'm the Filipino podcasting machine, Princey D, and with me, as always, a man formerly known as Timbo Slice Timmy B. Before we start, please take a moment to subscribe to us on YouTube so you don't miss a single episode. If you'd like to support the show, check out middaysquares.com and save 15% by using code FIGHTINSIGHT15. On today's episode, we talked to our first ever professional MMA judge, solve racism, look at the UFC Holm versus Vieira card, and a whole lot more. Tim, hit it.
Yeah, it's Timmy B, Princey D, Fight Insight. Yeah.
All right, aside from politicians, our guest today may have one of the most ruthlessly scrutinized jobs on the planet. And like our guest last week, ring announcer Big Mo, everybody thinks they can do it. But our guest is a true professional and one of the best in the world at what he does. Involved in martial arts since 1996, he took Big John McCarthy's very first course in 2006, started officiating amateur MMA in 2009, and became a pro official in 2012. Now he travels the world as a judge for UFC, Bellator. The man is responsible for some of the most important calls in combat sports. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fight Insight podcast episode 66 is now in session. All rise for the Honorable
Judge Mike.
Didn't see that one coming right there. How you doing, guys?
How you doing, Mike? Good to see you.
Doing well. Thank you.
Oh man, you have one of the most stressful jobs in the world. I can only imagine. How do you manage the stress, Mike?
It's up there for sure. You know, I mean, it's the most important. Every fight is the most important fight for every fighter that competes in the cage or ring. So,
Yep.
There's a high level of stress, but there's a high level of preparation as well. You know, that goes into it before you go in there, just to be prepared. You know, mentally, physically, and zoned in.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We have tons of questions. We asked our fans, viewers, and listeners for questions. People wrote in. There's a famous guy that wrote in a question who I think is a friend of yours. Better be a friend of yours, the question that he asked. So I'll save that one for last. First thing we want to ask you, people need to know, is there any ongoing training or testing or continual licensing for judges?
It varies from athletic commission to athletic commission, but we'll just use California for example.
Yep.
You know, like to work in the amateurs, you have to take what they call ABC, Association of Boxing Commissions certified course. In California, the two people that have taught those kind of courses have been Herb Dean and John McCarthy. So it's pretty intense to take one of their courses. I've helped both of them out with their courses in teaching. And then after that, you have to work in the amateurs, which in California, we have one called California Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Organization. And you have to work several fights in there as well before you get the opportunity to apply for a professional license. Now, it varies from state to state, but, you know, California and Nevada, you know, tend to have a lot more shows, so there's a stringent requirement, at least to make it through there. You know, I mean, it's the same, or not the same, but like in professional sports all in general, like to become an official in the NBA, you got to put in your time, you know, to work your way up. MLB, you got to work in the minor leagues. Ideally, you're working in some kind of smaller show to get your reps in and make your mistakes, because you're going to make them. You know, it's the same thing with being a podcaster. You know, you're not going to, well, maybe you're skilled in hitting it off in your first one, but, you know, most people have to take reps and learn from it. Same thing as being an official.
Yeah, don't go back and watch our first few episodes, Mike. They're horrible, really bad.
Mike, we were carrying like Bristol boards just to keep, you know, right? To keep all our signs up. We didn't even know there was like a platform and things like that. We had signs up this way. You should have seen our first logo. Like, you would have barfed.
Oh yeah, terrible, Mike. Mike, I think you said it when we were off camera, but do you have to train? I think you might, but do you have to train in at least one martial art to be a judge? And this is from @NickTan.
You should train in some further martial arts, and pretty much all the judges I work with have trained in something.
Okay.
Nowadays, you know, mixed martial arts is so grown to where you can go to most gyms and they'll have everything there. You know, a one-stop shop. You know, grappling, striking, maybe even wrestling. but you should be familiar with the terminology. You would hate for a fighter to say, or you as a referee, the fight ends on a guillotine choke, and you just call it, strangle.
Yeah.
You should be able to speak the technology, the
Yeah, yeah,
terminology,
hopefully.
like
Or
it's like
we call it a gelatin.
gelatin,
Yeah.
Gelatin.
guillotine,
Guy-
guillotine. Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. So then you're saying that most judges have trained or do train, so that's good, right? That they have some sort. I mean, you got to have some sort of passion for the sport if you're in there judging it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of us can, determine, oh, that punch hurt or whatever like that. But like with a submission hold, it's like, wait a second, that's tight. Oh, that's not tight. The mechanics of that person's body is is definitely creating leverage. Like be able to analyze and give proper credit. You should be able to train. You do have to understand what that feels like in order to
Nice.
really give proper credit or to discredit.
Yep. And just personally, what have you trained in, or what are you experienced in martial arts?
I started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in '96.
Oh, nice.
Now, obviously, careers and life has strayed me away at certain times,
Sure.
but I've been lucky enough to be on the mat, to be blessed to train in different places, to be on the mat and learn from some great individuals. And I feel the mindset I started with jiu-jitsu, like I think some people say jiu-jitsu changed my life. It definitely put me in a different direction and opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Nice. That's awesome, Mike. Now, I'm going to get to some actual judging questions. I'm going to play a video here for you quickly. This is just a 5-second video, but I just want you to pay attention to this video.
The meatball is rolling downhill, which is crazy. Oh my goodness! Look at Kim as well.
Now
That's a lot
that
of
is
punching.
that's a lot of punching. That's the end of the round. That's Molly Meatball McCann versus our friend, former guest Gian Kim. I think Gian was winning that fight. Molly in the last round, and you'll see this with lots of fighters, that last 5-6 seconds, she goes crazy, hands down. She screams, like you can't see because it's behind her, but she goes, "Come on!" Like she's just eating punches and screaming. How much does that play a factor into judging?
It really depends. You got to look at the round as a whole. Obviously, if the round's close, and that's the last kind of thing, it could sway someone over. But if there's 4 minutes and 55 seconds of the other person doing well, and having their will, every situation is different. But the hardest part, good or bad, is evaluating the whole round as a whole and then giving credit, to what's more effective in that round.
Okay. But kind of what you are saying is like, hey man, turn it up in those last 10 seconds, pretty much regardless, right?
I mean, anything can happen in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
We've had some fights where, one fighter is winning the whole time, and then all of a sudden you can see visible damage in the last 10 seconds. Not just someone throwing punches, but we're talking someone's concussed, hurt, maybe on the ground. Those kind of things will definitely sway because it was closer to ending the fight, and the keywords are ending the fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Now, how much does the crowd make a difference? And I'm talking as a judge. How much does it, when you're in someone's hometown and the crowd is going crazy, how do you get that out of your head so that that doesn't impact what you're witnessing? You know what I mean?
Just focusing on the moment and, just being zoned in. There's more than just the crowd. There's gamesmanship going on from everybody. Coaches are going to yell on a punch that whiffs. Oh, that's beautiful. That's what we wanted, And,
Perfect.
Perfect, and you've heard it several times as well. And, especially when the Apex, when there was no crowds and you can hear nothing but the coaches, and you heard all kinds of stuff that goes on. You hear them yelling at, not yelling at refs, but trying to influence referees. Don't worry, he's not doing anything. He's going to stand you up pretty quickly, like that kind of gamesmanship goes on all the time.
Yeah.
But the same thing with crowds, sometimes they might ooh or ah something that missed, and you have to just make sure that you're zoned in the moment and giving credit to what's actually scoring. And sometimes there's going to be those moments too where you're going to pick a winner that's not the hometown person, and there's going to be a lot of boos or whatever like that, but your job is not to make them happy, it's to pick the correct winner.
Mike,
Yeah.
do you ever like wear like earplugs just to sound?
No, no. I mean, and I advise everybody could do what they want, but like I advise against it because I want to hear. I want the information of the punches that are landing, or the voices that a fighter's making when he or she has been struck. If a submission is on, what kind of, you know, if that he or she is verbally in pain as they're fighting out through that joint lock submission. Like it's hard to do, but you to try to focus as much on selective audio and tune
Yeah.
out the rest of the audio.
Actually, that's
And it's
really
hard, but it's tools and information that can help you make a better decision.
Mike,
but
I
it's
thought you were gonna say that. Hey, I listened to some Celine Dion while the fight's going on, and Shania
Uh,
Twain in the background.
I, I mean, I'm more of like a country person.
oh
Yeah. Shania might be a good option, whatever like that. But I don't know if Celine Dion would get me as focused. It might work for some people, but
Some
yeah,
Lone
yeah,
Star,
yeah.
some Lone Star.
Lone Star is pretty good. And, I'm more of a Zach Brown band, but I can listen to some other music, some metal or hip hop, and get me focused in the zone. But
Nice,
you
nice.
know,
But it's
but
funny.
yeah,
But it's funny that
oh,
you
go right
talk
ahead.
about. It's funny that you talk about like the people trying to influence because like the main event this weekend. Are you working this weekend for
Yes.
Holm and Vieira? So the main event, Holly Holm is known for always giving the kia kia every time she throws a punch. And you're right. Even when she's missing, she's saying it. And so you wonder, like, is she trying to influence the judges by doing that? Right?
I think it's just more her background, of her martial arts, and a lot of. I'm not saying she's a karate person, but a lot of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people are taught to kia after they strike. It helps breathe out their diaphragm and control their breath, and when they do take a strike on a counter, it's supposed to, absorb it better.
Yeah.
I think that's it, and of course, like you could speculate that it's to sway the judges or whatever like that. Every fighter's different in what they do and what
Yeah.
helps them compete better.
Yeah, but see, there's a lot of trolls online, Mike, that like complain about stuff like that. So I'm glad that you're telling people, hey, this is what this is. Speaking about being in the hometown, and sometimes you might have to give it to the other guy. Have you ever been confronted by a fighter or someone on a call that you've made? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah. I mean, not often, but I mean, it has happened. Um, and there's been times, it really depends on the setting and the mood. But for the most part, I'll talk with any fighter, whether
Yeah.
if she or she, wants, an explanation. I mean, they competed, they put their energy and their soul, their training camp, and their health on the line, to earn a decision. And if it was a choice of decision, or if I'm refereeing it and I chose to stop it, I'll explain why. Um,
Oh, that's nice.
usually those best conversations are set once the emotions are down, and
Of
it's
course.
because sometimes it's a heat of the moment conversation, but that person's a professional and I'm a professional, so why shouldn't we be able to discuss it after the fight, when in the proper setting.
Oh, that's awesome. I would have no idea that you would do that. So that's awesome. Can judges, this is a question that we got from an anonymous person. Can judges talk to one another during the fight?
No.
Oh,
No,
are you?
you are on your own island. They usually position them seated away from each other, and that's for the purpose of uh, no collaboration. You're making your own decision. When you're writing something down on that piece of paper, that your score, it's your score. It's not because you talked with Judge B
Oh, that's
and you thought,
crazy.
so. They pick up the scorecards after every round. So, every round is a new fight.
Wow. Okay. Unless you're in one FC, but okay. Uh,
Yeah, correct.
te-
In North America, every
yeah,
round
yeah.
is one fight.
I'm going to show you another video. This one, there's something that the commentators are saying that I had never heard before this fight.
Online for a 10-10. Judges are so vehemently discouraged from scoring rounds 10-10.
I don't know how you could do anything other than that.
At this point,
Especially if we consider all the other fights that get scored, or rounds that get scored a 10-9.
So there was the infamous 10-10 round. Never heard of this, Mike. Is that a thing?
it is a thing, but typically it happens for the most part on let's say 20 seconds into the round, the fighter A fighter eye pokes fighter B, and it's the third round of a 3-round fight, and fighter B can't continue due to an unintentional foul. So you only have 20 seconds worth of activity, and there was nothing that went on. That's usually when a 10-10 goes on. With a full round full of activity, it's very rare. It's happened. It's a unicorn, but not that I've seen one, but like they're allegedly there, and same thing with 10-10 rounds. They can be scored.
Well, then that Esparza and Namajunas fight might have been a unicorn, Mike. I don't know. Could have been a unicorn.
I did not watch it. I was working Bellator in France.
Okay.
When that went on, so I still have not watched it or seen it. So I couldn't.
You're not missing much, Mike. But if you're having trouble sleeping one day, you just pop that baby on.
And help you go back to sleep. That's the.
No. I was on the other side of the earth, and of course I was interested in hearing about it, but I heard about it much later.
Okay. But so did you know that they talked about a 10-10 round during that fight? Did you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not until you played that right there.
Yeah, it was very interesting, man. I'd never heard anything like that before. So, okay, thanks for that info. At MMA Gains _Gains, our good friends, they ask, what are your thoughts on open scoring? That's been flirted with.
Like there's positives and negatives to it, and it's actually been tried in boxing before, in previous days. And, what they found is that some people, when they knew they were ahead, they coasted.
Right.
So, it's like I said, it's got its pluses and minuses. And actually, I think in Kansas, they're actually doing like a form of open scoring right now with their athletic commission. What they do is they have the inspector in between rounds to show the coach what the score is. Whether the coach is against the cage looking at their fighter. So the fighter can't see it. The inspector's behind the cage. They're holding up a sign. It says, 10-9, whatever like that, or 10-8 or whatever. And it's up to the coach then to determine whether he or she will tell the fighter, what the score is. And game plan from there. So, like I said, it's got its pluses and minuses. And then there's some detractors that would say, you lose some of that drama at the end of the fight when you're awaiting the decision. So, and I'm not here to be proactive or negative against it or whatever like that. They're just having an honest discussion about it.
No, that's interesting because actually we had Joe Daddy Stevenson on our podcast, and he just took the Herb Dean course, and we asked him.
I helped teach him.
Oh, really? And a great guy. And he said the exact same thing you did. He talked about the coasting, and he said, that's a little bit dangerous, because you don't want people to do that. So same there. I'm going to show you a picture of a rule, and you won't be able to read this on screen, but this is the rule in the unified rules that talks about use of abusive language in the fighting area. And so in unified rules, foul language is actually punishable. Have you ever seen someone deducted a point for using foul language?
No, I have not.
No.
I mean, it's fighting. Like you're allowing some people to punch each other and hurt each other. Hit each other to the head. But I think if you did have anything that was like racially motivated or whatever, then the referee would interact. But I mean, if you worked a Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz fight, you're hearing every other third word is a curse word,
Yeah.
It's almost like thank you. Like thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. You're welcome. That's it.
So I mean, it's part of the game. I mean, you're asking these people to hurt each other, but at the same token, be completely civil. It's and every fighter's different. Some people like have to get into that mindset in order to compete correctly or compete to their best ability. So as long as it's not crossing the line, what's I'm not saying what's the harm. Maybe someone is offensive to it, but it's fighting. And fighting is, very primal in its nature.
Yeah. Well, actually, Mike, it's interesting you bring up the racial type slurs or something like that could go on, because we're going to talk about that after, because of that whole thing that happened with the Tony Kelley. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see about that?
I did not. I did not even. Okay. I did not even hit. Yeah.
Well, Mike, when we release this podcast tomorrow, watch it, because Prince and I are going to talk about it, and we're going to solve racism when this is over, Mike. So don't worry, we will figure that out. All right. Last question. This is from, and he says that he is your twin. This is from our friend Joe A. Martinez. Have you heard of this guy?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So apparently he is your good friend. He says that you are like his twin. He is your evil twin, or you're his evil twin. I don't know which one, but we had him on the podcast. Great guy. He asks a very interesting question, and do not blame me for this, but he asks, hold on, where is it? You should ask him how it is to be vertically challenged in the sport. Does he feel typecast to only score little people fights?
That sounds like a Joe Martinez question. Because he's the taller big brother, identical twin big brother, he'd pull that rank on me right now. But, and, I'd come back in him, but I don't think I could say that on air, or the stuff I'm going to rarely say. But, but I'll let Joe get away with that one right there.
Yeah.
Joe is one of the chillest, easygoing guys to work with. A whole lot of fun, a whole lot of energy, and a great announcer as well too.
The best, man.
Yeah. But just let him know, like, hey, in Fortaleza, like there was the little brother was coming for his job. I got some pictures of we holding the microphone and everything. I know he was a little nervous there.
He talked about that. He said, he goes, there's a picture with him holding the mic. So yeah. That's awesome, Mike. It was such a pleasure to have you on, because there are a whole bunch of judging type questions that we wanted to ask. So we got through a bunch of them. I appreciate your time. Before we let you go, Prince, is there anything that you wanted to say?
Oh, Mike, thank you again for coming, man. You're your first MMA judge, and man, like a wealth of knowledge. My head exploded. Like, I can't even believe this is what actually happened. So I appreciate you coming, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Is there anything that you want to say before you go? To aspiring judges, aspiring refs?
If you're aspiring to referee or judge, of course, we're all fans of the sport. But if you really want to do it and you're really serious about it, take an Association of Boxing Commissions certified course and start the path. There's several teachers out there. There's Blake Rice and Kevin McDonald on the East Coast. Of course, there's Herb Dean here in the West Coast. And the Association of Boxing Commissions has a meeting every year as well. They have one course as well. And then get with your local athletic commission and see what you need to do.
Nice, man. Mike, it was a pleasure having you. We do hope that we can have you back on again one day, because the questions were piling in and I had to filter out a whole bunch. But thank you so much, Mike, for coming on, and all the best to you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great day.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. What a cool opportunity, man. Man, those questions were great. He answered everything. 10-10 round. Never going to happen. The unicorn.
The unicorn. The lunar eclipse. Like, I couldn't. Yeah, that's cool. Even like where they're positioned, like where they're sitting. I mean, they can't.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought they were all sitting together, like the commentators or something like that.
That's what I thought too.
I thought they're sitting in a box together.
I swear I saw like a clip of them all sitting side by side, but I guess they're sitting.
No.
Together.
But yeah, no, what a great guy. So guys, I do want to say, if you're here because of Mike Bell and you wanted to hear that, thank you so much for joining the podcast. If you do want to check out our other podcasts, follow, subscribe, do all that jazz. And next week on the podcast, I do want to announce we have a returning guest. She is fighting for I'm going to get this wrong, but she's fighting for a title with Lion Fight in Muay Thai. It is Prince
Regan, the coconut, go ahead.
Yes, Regan
I still have the coconut too, just to remind you.
Well, we better get something prepared, because Regan is coming back next week, guys. Everybody loved her. They want to see more. She's fighting for the title. Just today, it was announced that her fight got canceled. The card got canceled, but they rebooked her to the month following. So actually, she will now be fighting in July. I think she was supposed to fight in June. Now she's fighting July, but it's still booked. She's fine. She's going to be fighting in Boston instead of Texas. So there we go. She's coming on next week. Friends of the podcast update, Elise Little Savage Anderson. She fights for 1FC 157 this Friday. So this Friday morning, she fights 1FC. Let's give her all the support.
Sure luck.
Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying, Prince? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Do you remember our guest that kept saying, know what I'm saying?
Who's this?
You know what I'm saying? Ricky Hadouken Tercios. Know what I'm saying? Ricky Tercios, know what I'm saying? He has announced that he's got a fight. It is not officially announced, and we don't know when, where, or with who, but Ricky Tercios finally, finally has a fight.
I
so
know
he's coming up.
Big delay. Like,
know what I'm saying?
I was going to bust out the nunchucks.
Yeah, know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Connor Tierney, the Brumtown Bomber for BKFC. He's fighting July 16th in London, England, Prince. So batten down the hatches, baby. That crowd is going to be livid for Connor Tierney.
That doesn't sway the judges at all.
I was talking to Connor today, and he was like, holy shit, what? I'm going to fucking kill this guy. Like, oh, man, he was going off.
What's your English accent?
He's going to kill him, man. All right. I should not say that because, Prince, we have to solve racism on this podcast.
Yes,
and I feel like we should do that. Before we do, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Midday Squares. Use code FIGHTINSIGHT15 at middaysquares.com to save 15%. That's your functional chocolate bars. I said it last week, Prince. Sun's out, guns out. Your fat belly is out. Get in shape. Eat some Midday Squares. Go buy it. Middaysquares.com. Use code FIGHTINSIGHT15.
Yes, and guys, another sponsor. Also, check out Hula Cleaning Services. Contact Hula Cleaning Services for all your carpet, fitness, commercial, construction cleaning needs. You can contact them. You can find them actually at www.hulacleaning.com.
All right, Prince. And now, in the great words of Tosh.0, we are going to ask...
It's time for Is It Racist?
All right, this game show, Prince. We are going to look at something that happened last weekend. Parental discretion is advised. We're going to show the clip as it aired on TV. So this is what happened. This is real life, man. This is what happened.
That's what they're going to do. They're dirty fucking Brazilians. They're going to fucking cheat like that. Guess what? We came to fuck somebody up.
Good old Tony Kelley. Now, Prince, the question is that racist? Forget the fact that Brazil is not a race or what, you know what I mean? Forget that. We all know what we're talking about here. Okay. So, is it racist? It's a little bit of a joke, whatever, but asking the question to our fans immediately when it happened, put a poll out. I'm putting it on the screen for everyone that is on audio only. We're just showing the results of the stats. 33% said this is martial arts, respect your opponent. 25% said free speech means I can say whatever the hell I want. 25%, I don't even know what happened. Right. So, but it was half with a little bit more saying, hey, this is not really appropriate. We asked it again a few days later. The results were, are his comments racist? 39% hell yes. 43% nah, it's in the heat of battle. So Prince, as time went on, our fans said, nah, fuck it. Let him say whatever he wants.
Yeah, man. No, listen. I mean, the question is it racist? I mean, basically, he's targeting a group, and
you gotta talk up a little bit louder.
Sorry. Oh, sorry, buddy. So yeah, no, I mean, like I was saying, regardless, Tony was targeting a group. Like he was targeting Brazilians, and to me, it was wrong. Like what he said was just not a right comment. And I mean, I was just wondering too, because I mean, he knew that the camera was right behind him. There's something we were talking about. The camera was right behind him. He knew that stuff was going. He knew it was being recorded. That was his actual thoughts. Like it was
okay. Well, okay. Two things. I'm going to show you Kelly's response. I don't know if you saw this, Prince, but Tony Kelley's Twitter response was, I'm putting on the screen, cancel culture is real. What I said was real and in the heat of battle and in no way had any type of racist connotations. But if that's the way you take it, I don't give a fuck. So many people quick to say racist. That shit's getting old. My reference was to a dirty eye poke. That's pretty BS to me, man. I feel like if you were talking about the dirty foul, then you would say it a little bit differently. My opinion.
What do you think?
I don't like it. I'm a very proper guy, Prince. Like I don't like swearing. Like I remember there's a kid at our gym.
Yes.
And when we were training back when he was like, I don't know, maybe grade 8, grade 9, like young kid, I took him under my wing and I was like, do not swear. Don't blah blah. And swearing was a big thing for me because I remember I heard him swear one time. Laren, if you're watching this, he swore. And then I told him, I said, hey, don't swear. Ever since then, I always kept that up with him. And for 5-6 years, as he went into high school, graduate high school, he always remembered. He said, oh, I can't swear in front of Tim, blah, blah. And to me, that's just martial arts. And that's swearing. This guy, what he said, I'm not cool with it. It's funny you said about the cameras behind him. Here's a fan explanation that we got on our Instagram, Prince. I have to share this. I told the guy I'm going to share it. I thought this was a very interesting response. McKinley Heron wrote, it's just a misunderstanding. If he had known that they have TV and internet in Brazil, he wouldn't have said it. Seriously, little Nog tried to feed the bus a carrot. He thought it was a horse or a llama or a donkey or something. I don't know. How were we supposed to know that they have internet in that country? If Tony had known, he wouldn't have said it. Simple misunderstanding.
Man, the metaphor.
Do you get the joke on this? It's so friggin' hilarious. He's referencing a Chael Sonnen joke when Chael Sonnen talked about little Nog trying to feed a carrot to a bus.
Okay. That's where he's getting
That was just so friggin' funny. It was such a deep cut. I thought that was funny. I posted. But you're saying like, well, had he known the camera was behind him or did he know? I mean, I feel like it doesn't matter. Like, and we're not, and Tony Kelley's response saying, oh, this is cancel culture. No one's saying that you should be canceled. And I don't even know what that means. Like, no one's saying that you should be fired or blah, blah. But should you say sorry for saying that? Sure, man. That's a little friggin' offside.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my thought.
Yeah. I mean, if he posted something, he made a comment. I'm sorry, if he made a statement about what happened and what he said, then that'd be cool. But I mean, it's just, I heard it and I saw the video. I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, did that just really happen? And I'm like, when you look around your room, like, did anyone else hear that? You're like, what the?
Yeah,
right?
but then, and again, we're not saying that he needs to be fired or we're not saying blah, blah, blah. But it is what he said inappropriate. And it is weird. Again, I'm showing it on the screen. 43% of our respondents to our poll said, nah, it's okay. So I don't know. You voted that it was okay, right?
I didn't. What are you talking about? No?
Oh, I thought you voted that it was okay. Okay, well, Prince, I have a little game for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say a country, or I'm going to say a country or a race, and I want you to say the first derogatory slang you can about that country. God. Okay? And then we're going to see whether the fans think it's bad. So we want people to respond. Okay, ready, Prince? I'm going to say a country, and then you say like a negative stereotype about them.
I'm not.
And I've got 10 of them.
This is
ready?
Bad.
Like the worst slang you can think of this country. Ready?
Yeah, we're skipping this.
All right. That's what I said to people, though. I said, hey, change Brazilians to any other country or to a different ethnicity or whatever the hell. There's no way you think that term is okay. Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
You know what? I wonder.
You sure you don't want to play that game, though?
No, Tim, I think we're good. That's a cancel right there. But I wonder how many people from, that Tony knows that are Brazilians that's actually confronted. I'm actually curious if anyone said, hey, man, what was that all about, right? So.
That's true. Yeah, because this guy's a friggin' professional mixed martial artist. He's going to go around the world training. Like, you got to bump into a Brazilian one day. Or someone that's sympathetic towards that thing. Like, that's got to put you in a weird spot. Interesting enough, Andrea KGB Lee, if you recall, her last boyfriend or husband got into big trouble because he had a Nazi swastika tattooed on him. And she went through some drama. Do you know about that? Do you recall that? Anyways, that was some drama. Now she gets with this dude. And this is what he says. It's like, I don't know, man. You got to go find someone better on Tinder or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, I switched the dating app.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what dating app she's using, but it's not finding the winners, man.
No.
All right, so interesting. I did. Okay, well, we'll get off this. I was going to put this on the screen, though, for Coconut. We are recording this on Wednesday, May 18th.
Mhm.
You know what's so funny? Came up on our Instagram today, a memory.
Oh my gosh.
Last May 18th was when we posted our interview with Regan Gowing. So how weird is it that 1 year ago exactly, we're announcing that she's coming back? And it says she's coming for those titles. And then sure enough, here we are a year later and she's fighting for the title. So congrats to Regan. We will see her next week. Prince, let's move on to one of the greatest cards in UFC history. UFC Holm versus Vieira.
Yes.
Prince, $100 if you can tell me who Vieira has fought in the last 5 years. Like, would you know Vieira if you bumped into her?
No, absolutely not. I only know Tate. Tate's one. There you go.
Oh yeah, Vieira, you son of a gun. She's the one that beat Tate and pushed her out of the bantamweights. I'm showing the poster from our friends at MMA Social Squad, so thank you. This poster, I told them, true return to form here, Prince. This poster looks hot.
Yep.
Looks hot for a card that is not.
Yeah.
Prince, holy moly. What are we doing with this card, Prince? Holly Holm versus Ketlin Vieira is the main event. On the undercard, you get Sam Hughes, Elise Reed, Philippe Colares, Chase Hooper, blah, blah, blah. Keep going. Prince, I honestly do not recognize many of these names.
Yeah. Why don't we just do the co-main and the main event?
Wait, hold on. You got Polyana Viana. I like her against Tabitha Ricci. That's a pretty good fight to start off the main card. That's in the women's strawweight division, which is a hot division. So that's not bad. Eric Anders. Let's do that one. I like Eric, ya boy, Anders. You know Eric Anders? Our friend Dylan, who was a guest of the podcast for fans of the podcast, he massaged Eric Anders. So Eric, ya boy, Anders, he's fighting a South Korean. So this household prince is choosing this guy. The Iron Turtle, Park Jun-young Park, versus Eric Anders. Prince.
Listen, I mean, hey, if you got treated by Dylan, a previous guest of Fight Insight podcast, I'm going with ya boy. Ya boy.
Ya boy. Eric Anders, you're going ya boy. Due to my wife, I will only be cheering for the South Korean. So I've got the Iron Turtle. And what a freaking cool name that is, the Iron Turtle. I like that. All right. What do we got next? Then you got, I cannot pronounce either of those two guys' names. Dusko Todorovic versus Chitty Nyakuani. I know that Chitty guy is pretty good, though. Prince, without knowing who these people are, Prince. Chitty or Dusko? I'm
going with Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh, that should be his nickname. Could you imagine if it was Chitty Bang Bang? Chitty Bang Bang?
Actually, that's his nickname.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Chitty Bang Bang. I'm serious. That's the nickname.
That's freaking cool. Chitty Bang Bang. That's from the what movie was that from? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's from the one where the guy's like the chimney sweep. Mary Poppins, isn't it? Chitty Bang Bang. From Mary Poppins.
I swear it was from somewhere else.
Go look this up after. No, that's where it's from, man. Okay, look it up. Co-main event of the evening, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Michel Pereira. Prince. Santiago Ponzinibbio or Pereira? Pereira is the guy that's got all the flashy stuff, right?
Yeah, I like Pereira all the way. He's got, I just like the flash. I like the when he goes in there, it's definitely a show. It's definitely like a backflip. He's probably gonna throw like a Superman punch. Probably try and jump off a cage or something like that. I like watching some of his fights. I'm going with Pereira. And actually, so just let you know, Chitty Bang Bang is a 1968 musical.
Oh, son of a gun. But then who's in it?
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, okay. So it was the chimney sweep from Mary Poppins. But it's but it's a different movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Okay, I didn't know if it's a different movie. Speaking of how old I am, Prince, do you know how old I am? You know how I know I'm super old now?
How?
Because I find myself saying to my wife, "Honey, the main event is on. Can you make me a tea?" I've done that twice now. That's how old I am, Prince. Fuck. All right.
Next, just chamomile.
So
you know, anything else will keep me up.
Yeah, come on. This Rose versus Carla's killing me. Holly Holm, Prince versus Ketlin Vieira. Ketlin Vieira, goddammit, ousted Miesha Tate out of bantamweight. Versus Holly Holm, who has not fought for 2 years due to like multiple medical issues, injuries, whatnot. So she's been out for quite some time. Of course, she's former bantamweight champion. She's coming off 2 wins off Raquel Pennington and Irene Aldana, both decisions. Before that, she lost her title to Nunes. But yeah, she hasn't fought in 2 years. She's finally back. The decision queen. I don't know. I mean, aside from like her devastating KOs when she has them, but recently 2 decisions. I'm not a huge fan of Holly Holm. Ketlin Vieira, you know, you beat my girl Miesha Tate, so I don't know how I feel about you. Prince, who do you have on this one? Ketlin Vieira is 12-2. She's lost to Irene Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya. She's 2-2 in her last 4 fights, but overall 12-2. She's beaten Ashley Evans-Smith, beaten Kat Zingano, beaten Sarah McMahon, beaten Sajara Eubanks, beaten Miesha Tate. So she's beaten a good roster of people. And of course, we know Holly Holm and who she's beaten. Prince, who do you have in this fight and how?
I'm going to say Vieira by decision. Just because she's fought recently, she's younger. I think Holly's done. I think she's way past her prime, and everyone knows that. Right?
How dare you, Prince? She is the preacher's daughter.
Listen, my gosh, if she ends up throwing a head kick that drops this girl, I'm gonna be like, we can edit this, you know.
We'll edit it up. Prince, I got Holly Holm winning by decision. I think Holly's got the length and all that. I think she's going to use her sidekicks and blah blah blah, and she's going to keep Ketlin away. I got Holly Holm by decision on this one. All right, so that's it. Ketlin Vieira by decision for Prince. Holly Holm for decision by Tim. Those are our picks.
Yeah, well, usually when we pick on the same side, you usually get it right.
No. Sometimes we're okay. All right, buddy. This is going to be a shorter podcast. I mean, we solved racism so quick, and then you wouldn't play the game with me. You sure you don't want to? Maybe just a quick one.
No, I'm good. Yeah, I really would.
All right. Well, I had saved like 10 minutes for that game.
Right? So I'd still like to walk into my local metro. Pies thrown at me.
All right.
They still throw pies at people.
All right. Well, I should have run this game by you before we started, because now I'm at a loss. All right. Well, Prince, we've solved racism. We talked with good old Judge Mike Bell. What a good guy. Wow. What else? Okay, just so you know, what else was I going to ask? Someone had asked, what about half points for rounds, like 10 to 9.5? That was from at Ben10_11. Yeah, I don't know, man. He even said 10-10, never really going to happen. So I don't think a half point he would care, but just didn't have time to get to that. I know our buddy Nick Tan also wanted to ask, what exactly do you get points for? Striking, submission attempts, takedowns, etc. What about getting up from the ground? Blah blah blah. So we'll ask that next time. Trap Gambino, he wrote in. He said, "I'm a judge for the LFC. Am I qualified?" I don't know. I guess so, but he fought on the weekend. Trap, we love you. Other questions? What about 9 judges around the ring or 5 judges? That was from at Fourth and Long Media. That's a good question. People have talked about having more judges. What do you think about that, Prince? 5 judges instead of 3?
Oh man, that's going to be even more confusing. Like what? So like the unanimous.
It takes away the chance that like Well, I don't know, but 2 judges have to see it one way, right? Like you have to have the majority. So if 2 judges today are seeing it one way and we get mad, then what's to stop a third one from seeing it that way?
Yeah.
Buddy, I think we're going to get out of here. We're going to end this one a little bit early.
Yep.
Okay, let me just give you one race and you say you're
No. Oh gosh. Tim,
just
no.
one. Just do one and just see how it feels.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Again, follow, subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and listen to us at Spotify. So this game will never, ever happen.
I'm going to do this. We will do it one day. Prince, we are also on video on Spotify. So I know someone that was, or a couple people actually reached out to me saying, I turned it on Spotify as I normally do. And then boop, your video popped up. So yeah, that does happen now. If you're on Spotify and you play it, our video will show up. So you can get the video now on YouTube and Spotify. Prince, just one race. I'll give you an easy one.
I'm going home now.
Okay, goodbye.